Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. This country remains under a tropical storm warning as Tropical Storm Brett heads towards the island chain. A tropical storm warning means that sustained winds of 39 to 73 miles per hour or tropical storm conditions are expected within our area within 24 hours. At 5 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Brett was located near latitude 13.4 degrees north, longitude 59.6 degrees west, or approximately 120 miles east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The SVG Met Services says Tropical Storm Brett is moving towards the west at 16 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour with higher gusts. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 115 miles from the center. The SVG Met Services says tropical storm conditions can be expected across the northernmost portion of our islands by tonight, and storm conditions could linger across SVG during Friday. A flash flood watch also remains in effect for St. Vincent and the Grenadines until further notice. The Met Services says outer bands of Tropical Storm Brett will occasionally affect SVG with moderate to heavy showers, periods of rain, isolated thunderstorms, and strong gusty winds. Rainfall accumulation of 3 to 6 inches with isolated higher amounts are likely across our islands. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides or near rivers and streams are urged to be prepared. In terms of marine conditions, the Met Services says marine conditions are expected to deteriorate this evening with moderate to rough sea swells peaking near 11 feet, mainly along northern and northeastern coastlines. A small craft and high surf advisory remains in effect until further notice. Seacraft operators are asked to remain in port, and seabathers are also advised to stay out of the water. And in preparation for Tropical Storm Brett, the government ordered a full shutdown of the country from 6 p.m. today. The announcement was made in the national address on radio by Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel.
So based on this new update, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has taken the following decisions. 1. As of now, all schools and the public service are now closed. A full shutdown of the country will take place at 6 p.m. today. This includes all businesses. Only essential services such as police, the health services, and utilities will report to work under their department instructions. 2. All emergency shelters will be activated at 6 p.m. this evening. And 3. The National Emergency Operations Center will fully activate at 6 p.m. this evening. As we continue our preparations for the passage of Tropical Storm Brett, I urge all to continue to listen to the updates from the Met Services and all releases from NEMO. Do make your final preparations now. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Meteorological Services and the National Management Organization NEMO will continue to monitor the passage of Tropical Storm Brett over the period. Let us take this seriously and be prepared. A further update can be provided when necessary.
And residents have been urged to take the necessary precautions to stay safe during the passage of Tropical Storm Brett. The advice comes from Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who called into NBC Radio today from out of state. The Prime Minister said persons must put all systems in place to ride out the effects of the storm.
At this moment, when the storm is passing to the north of us later today, at least that's the forecast. A short while ago, I spoke to the acting Prime Minister, Montgomery Daniel, and we are prepared just in case the worst happens. And I'm asking the public to be prepared. And the fishermen with their boats, listen to the advisories. Make sure you have in your homes also some food and water, and know where the shelters are. And if your house is vulnerable, you get to the shelter early. It seems as though we will get the rain and some wind gusts from the outer band of the storm. But you know, with these storms, they can turn around fairly quickly. But insofar as predictable, you know what the meteorologist has said. And Michelle has been on, Michelle Fox, and Montgomery has been on. The National Emergency Council has met yesterday. So we are in a state of preparedness.
Prime Minister Gonsalves is in France leading this country's delegation to the International Summit for a new global financing pact. And President of the National Fisherfolk Organization, Winsbert Harry, is also urging fishermen from across the country to take the necessary precautions to protect their boats and livelihood.
We take this as a necessary caution because we do not want during this passing of Tropical Storm Brett that we will have loss of life. Fisher folks will be stranded at sea. So the National Fisher Folks is encouraging fisher folks from all over St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Please pull your boat to safety. Please listen to the necessary advice from NEMO and other agencies according to the passing of Tropical Storm Brett. I'm really encouraging the fisher folks in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to really take this warning into consideration, because I know that fisher folks normally say, well, this is just a passing, this is just a watch, we'll go out to fishing. But let us take this into serious consideration. I will encourage the authorities next time to really have this, not because we say it's a watch, take this into consideration, because what I'm seeing is that persons are taking it lightly because we are under watch and not taking it very seriously. And I'm encouraging the emergency NEMO to really venture in encouraging the persons and educating the fishers and people of St. Vincent and Grenadines what is a warning and what is a watch. So we could put this into serious consideration, because what I'm seeing is that persons not taking it as serious as it may look, and then we will encourage different consequences that would leave this country where loved ones could be lost.
Harry said he has been working along with some boat owners in Lomans Bay today to move their boats to higher ground.
I can see the boats in Lomans Bay. We had pulled to higher grounds. There are some boats in Cleverly. We are already encouraging them, because there was information that come out from the Fisheries Division yesterday, where we encouraging along with the National Fisher Folks and the Fisheries Division. We have worked very closely for the last yesterday and today in encouraging the fisher folks in Lomans Bay, Cleverly, Layou, Chateaubilay, Barrelly, to pull the boat to safer grounds, even in Calaqua. And if push comes to shove tomorrow, the Fisheries Division and the National Fisher Folks will ask for other assistance that we would like to see fisher folks go to higher grounds, even if we could get some of the fishing boat moved to Canash Bay, because we know Canash Bay is our only safe bay that we have. And if we could have the Atlihal Marina open up for boats that will not be able to go to this area. So the Fisheries Division and the National Fisher Folks Organization is working in to see how we could get the Atlihal Marina open up for boats that will not be able to make it to the safe ground.
The SVG Coast Guard service is also urging fisher folk to pull all small boats well clear of the water. It says small boats and yachts which cannot be pulled clear of the water should be moved to a sheltered position and anchored or moored securely. You are advised not to leave boats alongside jetties. If your ship is visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you are advised to complete discharging cargo as soon as possible and to make for a sheltered area well clear of the hurricane track. The SVG Coast Guard service says if you must stay, choose a sheltered location and anchor more securely. If your vessel is fully seaworthy, you may find it necessary as the wind and seas build up to proceed to sea and to ride out the storm in open water, seeking shelter from the land as the wind direction changes. Remember to stock up with plenty of food and water. According to the SVG Coast Guard Service, St. Vincent does not possess hurricane holes, but for southerly winds up to 50 knots, Port Elizabeth Bequia has been found to provide reasonable shelter. The Coast Guard says the nearest hurricane holes are Marigot Bay, St. Lucia, Prickly Bay or Port Edmond in Grenada and Stables Bay in Trinidad. However, you are being warned that the majority of hurricanes swing towards the north. Noting that each boat owner is responsible for his or her vessel, the SVG Coast Guard Service is reminding operators that early action to protect your vessel can save lives and loss of valuable property. In more local news now, we hear that Riley Matthias and Leah Nanton of the St. Vincent's Girls High School are the two top winners in this year's Ministry of Foreign Affairs essay writing competition. The students took the first place spot in two different categories of the competition, the Ambassador category and the Envoy category, as a snippet of their winning essays.
See, I am CARICOM. Why do I love the Caribbean? The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Constitution Order states that one can obtain Vincentian nationality through birth, registration, or naturalization. My island does not have a program for persons to acquire Vincentian nationality through investment. I am a proud Vinci. Having been born in this blessed isle, my navel string is firmly planted here. One's nationality establishes one's international identity as a member of a sovereign nation. As a sovereign nation, my island state has established and maintains close relations with countries internationally and is a member of the United Nations.
What are the social, political, and economic implications of the Russia-Ukraine conflict on small island developing states, SIDS? The legendary Robert Nesta Marley had great foresight as he penned the all-too-familiar song, War. He had it all right until we achieve human equality among races. There would always be wars. If I may quote Bob Marley, and until the ignoble and unhappy regimes that hold our brothers in Ukraine in subhuman bondage have been toppled and utterly destroyed. Everywhere is war. According to the Collins Online Dictionary, war is a period of fighting or conflict between countries or states. Today, amidst the global spotlight, some vulnerable small islands, which comprise a diverse group of countries with limited resources, are vastly impacted as the Russia-Ukraine war unfolded its geographical ramifications, reaching far beyond their borders.
The other positions in the top 5 in the Ambassador category were taken by Kendall Sampson of the St. Vincent Grammar School in 2nd place, Bradley Alexander, also of the St. Vincent Grammar School in 3rd place, Krista Sutherland of the St. Vincent's Girls High School 4th, and Christy Williams, also of the St. Vincent's Girls High School in 5th position. For the Envoys category, Belle Adams of the Sugar Mill Academy placed 2nd, Adian Straker of the St. Vincent Grammar School 3rd, Landry Pemberton of Bible Methodist 4th, and Lynn Exum of the Thomas Saunders Secondary in the 5th position. Giving an overview of the competition during the award ceremony today, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Sandy Peters Phillips explained the essay topics in the 2 different categories, noting that this year the competition has seen a slight increase in entry from primary schools, secondary schools, and college.
And in this section, 3 questions were given to the students between ages of 9 and 13 years old to choose from. and to write at least 300 to 600 words. The questions were as follows. We have 1. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected trade in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? 2. If you were a foreign minister for a day, which countries would you develop relationships with and why? 3. National flags are significant. Why? And fourthly, I am Vinci. I am CARICOM. Why do I love the Caribbean? In our ambassadors category, they had to write at least 1,000 to 1,500 words, and the questions that were associated here were as follows. St. Vincent and the Grenadines became the first CARICOM country to assume presidency of the Community of Latin America and the Caribbean States, which is CELAC. And you see that sign up there? Right? Discuss the potential benefits for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 2. What are the social, political, and economic implications of Russia-Ukraine war on small island developing states? 3. A tale of kings and queens. What are your thoughts on the coronation and reparations of 2023? 4. In November 2022, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade launched the Import-Export Guide. How does this help Vincentian entrepreneurs? And 5. I am Vinci. I am CARICOM, celebrating 50 years and identifying 50 things that makes us uniquely CARICOM.
The PS said that the essay competition is part of the public diplomacy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and is a platform to awaken the interest of the youth to learn and appreciate the functions of the ministry.
Competition is one of the many activities under the ministry's invigorating public diplomacy program. The purpose of the public diplomacy program is to develop creative ways to promote awareness and to the general public about the machineries of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Although there are other activities under the public diplomacy program, which the ministry spearheads, and these includes a vibrant weekly radio program, television program at some point too, exciting school visits, and I know some of the children here, some of the students here may have participated in that school visit program if you are between Form 4 and Form 5, right? I see a head shaking there. And we have a very informative quarterly newsletter, which you must take the time out to read. It's very informative. The Diplomatic Courier and updating the ministry's Facebook page. So these are things that you can look at in your spare time to get more information about us. It is also a mechanism to promote the work of the ministry and to sensitize.
And Superintendent of Police Trevor Bailey is urging parents to be vigilant about their children's activities, including items they may bring home which they know were not purchased by them. In addition, Constable Elroy Kwame, who is attached to the Sexual Offences Unit of the RSVG Police Force, said in the Vincentian culture there is a tendency to protect girls and neglect boys. He said there is a need for equal protection of both genders, particularly against sexual assault. SOP Bailey and Constable Kwame were panelists on the Police Beat program on Monday this week on NBC Radio, discussing the topic, Our Children, Our Responsibility, Our Future, Stop the Abuse, Protect Our Children Now.
You know, as well, Inspector, you know, as a parent, you have to remain very vigilant. So you notice that your son, you know, he's carrying some gadgets that you know that you did not purchase, and as we say locally, expensive stuff, and you notice that his clothesline is changing rapidly, so he's moving from, let's say, a $80 jeans, and he's start wearing just strictly brand, and you notice that the sneakers, you know, they're in the $450 range and they were not purchased by you. Only you have to intercede as a parent. You have to get to the source of this. Where is this coming from? Who are the person who's supplying you with this stuff? Why are you being purchased these stuff? What is the relationship? You have to make inquiries at a pretty early stage. And once you get into that, you have to nip it in the bud pretty early, because children are very vulnerable. And if as parent we leave any void in the relationship between the child and the parent, here's where we leave in room for someone else to come in and take advantage of our child, our children.
Resolve, and what we can attest to is that within our Vincentian community, we tend to protect our girls, and we leave our boys exposed, and they too can become victims of sexual assaults and sexual abuse, and that is something very important for us to recognize, and something for us to work on, protecting all our children equally and not one over the other. Yes, we'd want to protect our young girls, but we have to be very, very mindful that we have to protect our boys, right? And we are seeing that. We are seeing reports that are coming in where boys are being victims of sexual assaults, the indecent assaults and the buggery. So we have to be very mindful when it comes down to that.
On the circulation of child pornography videos on social media and elsewhere, Superintendent Bailey urged members of the public to cease from such action.
So, for example, if such a video is in existence, and we urge people not to circulate, somebody may send it to your phone, and you may send it to a friend, and a friend may send it to a friend, and within 10 minutes, 200 persons have it on their device. So we ask in the general public not to do that, not to circulate. But the point I was making is that if it comes to your phone and you're the 15th person who receive it, you may bring it to our attention. We can use the video on your phone only for information. You know, we may not be able to use the recording from your phone, you're the 15th person in the chain, as evidence in a court of law. So sometimes we hit that hurdle. It is there, and sometimes we find it difficult to get to the source. You know, but I urge the general public, you know, if such a recording comes to your phone, the first port of call should be to the police. So let us report this to the police, and then don't recirculate. You know, we ask that we do not advance the cause of this criminal, because sometimes they put it out there to shame the victim or the family. So let us not be a participant in that event.
And a teenage boy of Annisville Pole Yard is wanted by the police. A bulletin issued earlier today said the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is carrying out investigations into several offences where the subject, Cole Oliver, 18, is a person of interest. The police say the subject is to be approached with caution. If seen, you are asked to contact any police station or Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime at telephone number 45-71211, extension 4816, or officer in charge of the South Central Division at telephone numbers 4584-200 or 4575-459.